Hello, my name is Beth. Recently, my husband and I saw some cool things in NYC, and we thought that you might like to tag along. We caught a 10 a.m. flight from Nashville to NYC and found the smallest tray table we've ever seen, which barely held a bottle of soda, and we had to supply the soda. 2 hours later, we landed at LaGuardia, the oldest commercial airport in New York City, and still the closest major airport to Manhattan. The main reason for this trip was to see Back to the Future the musical, and Wicked. But according to the sign, there's a lot more to love here. So we wasted no time getting to the 82nd Street Jackson Heights subway station and rode the 7 train for about half an hour to Times Square and 42nd Street. Our first view of the Manhattan skyline was from here. When the train turned toward the East River, we were surprised to go underneath it. Walking down 42nd Street, the bright lights of Target caught our attention. The murals inside were cool, but we were shocked that the store itself was underneath the street. We stayed just 2 blocks from the famed One Times Square building, at the Pod Times Square Hotel, all the way up on the 18th floor. One of 4 locations in NYC, they are known for their proximity to attractions and their efficiency. This one had just enough room for a bathroom with a shower and a queen bed, but had a great view of the Empire State Building. We were thankful we didn't have to drive or park on this trip. How bizarre. The ad on this bus practically pointed us to the theater. And with Sports Almanac in hand, Josh could hardly wait to get there. He was both nervous and excited to see one of his favorite movies come to life, on stage as a musical. Inside, the music took us back to the 80s, and this booth tried to take more of our money. We were glad to see that film composer Alan Silvestri and screenwriter Bob Gale helped develop this production. And it was fun to be with fans from all over, eager to see Doc and Marty in the DeLorean in person. Sadly, the ushers were enforcing a strict no cell phone rule, so we couldn't film any of the show itself. Projecting this and changing the music to 50 songs during intermission were nice touches. No, my husband did not buy this here. He brought it from home. At the end, the show got a standing ovation, and they had a poetic way of letting us know it was time to leave. In short, we didn't think the new songs were as memorable as those in the movie, but the cast did amazing impressions of the original film actors, many of whom highly endorsed the show. And the special effects were outstanding. We're still not sure how they made the car fly. For breakfast the next morning, we stopped by a familiar favorite and enjoyed dining on the 2nd floor. Then we passed by a couple of theaters on our way to Times Square. Took a left onto 7th Avenue and we were there. Only turning back to see the $1 million New Year's Eve ball, made of nearly 2,700 Waterford crystal triangles and 700 LED lights. This area is strikingly similar to Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo, Japan. But the only place I've ever seen a 65-foot hot dog sculpture. It's supposed to make us examine consumption. Maybe these enormous donuts are here to make us think of health food. But I doubt it. 3 blocks away, we saw a familiar cast of characters outside of Nintendo, New York, at 10 Rockefeller Plaza. Inside, Bowser came out of his shell, and Toad and Luigi innocently stood by, after clearly chasing Mario up a flagpole. Link pointed to a sign warning visitors from getting too close, and Pikachu just sat cutely on his Pokeball. We found shirts that brought back old memories, and themed kitchen decor to make new ones. But best of all was the display featuring every gaming system Nintendo has ever released. Between my husband and our 2 kids, we either currently own or have owned nearly every one of these. Formerly known as Nintendo World, Nintendo New York opened in May of 2005 and is still the company's flagship store. The others are in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, Japan. Except for Kyoto, we've been to them all. I love this slogan. Josh's parents have fostered a similar environment at their house for years. 2 more blocks away, we encountered Radio City Music Hall, home of the high-kicking Rockettes. We've visited here before.
Very cool. I think you should do your impression of the Rockettes first.
I also got a kick out of seeing my favorite clothing store here. This is where the enormous Christmas tree is lit every year, traditionally on the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. And the iconic ice skating rink is here as well. From October to April, anyway. We were surprised to find this on the Plaza. And the concourse of stores underneath it. America's oldest toy store is also here, guarded by a couple of nutcrackers. Having first opened in 1862 on 5th Avenue, the store relocated here in 2018. Where I got to be a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. They come in a number of colorful outfits and had a box that fit me perfectly. But I wasn't the only one having fun. After deciding he was actually comfortable with his current age, Josh made his way to the walking piano to entertain. Later, we rode bikes to Central Park, which opened in 1858. There's so much history here. The Avengers reassembled on the Bethesda Terrace in 2012. And talented musicians have been performing underneath it for years. It was here, at the Bethesda Fountain, that an enchanted Giselle finished singing How Do You Know in 2007. And also where Santa's sleigh clipped the top of the Angel of the Water statue with Buddy the Elf in 2003. The Bow Bridge was just a short walk away, famous for its low, bow-like curve. Sadly, Mary Jane broke up with Peter Parker here in 2007. But the view is still amazing. We tried to navigate the park clockwise, but the roads were one way, so we had to go outside the park to get around. And push our bikes up walking paths, right past the dog walkers. We eventually made it to Belvedere Castle. Built in the late 1860s, so that visitors could enjoy views of the park. It's absolutely free, open to the public, and now serves as a welcome center with a gift shop on the main level. Belvedere means beautiful view in Italian, and the name certainly fits. You can even see Delacorte Theater, where Shakespeare in the Park typically takes place each summer. Finally, our clockwise journey led us to the Alice in Wonderland sculpture. We later donned our Elphaba green, grabbed dinner at a local pizza shop, and walked to Wicked, now celebrating its 20th year on Broadway. The abundance of merchandise easily outnumbered the Munchkins. The dragon, hovering above the set, commanded attention. And Josh and I made friends with the flying monkey. After the performance, we found this elaborate model of the set design in the lobby, and as it turns out, someone did have time to build it to scale and paint it. Compared to Back to the Future, this production's songs were much more emotionally charged. And its theater, the area's largest with over 1,900 seats, was right across the street. We walked back to the hotel afterward and experienced Times Square after dark, where they've been dropping the ball on New Year's Eve since 1907. 2 shows in 2 days, mission accomplished. The next morning, we literally saw signs of both hell and heaven, as well as some patriotic ones that set the stage for Memorial Day weekend. And we witnessed Good Morning America's Michael Strahan in action. They've been broadcasting the show from here since 1999.
Hey, Beth. What do you think about that?
There was something very familiar about all this.
What do you think about that?
Pretty neat. Then we went back underground, rode the subway to the east side, and boarded the Roosevelt Island Tram, which cost about the same as the subway. It opened back in 1976, the first commuter aerial tramway in the U.S. Each car holds 110 passengers and offers unique views as it crosses the East River parallel to the Queensboro Bridge. Before the 1970s, the island was mainly occupied by hospitals and prisons, but now it's mostly residential. We enjoyed snacking by the river, watching boats pass by, and seeing the city from a different perspective, before waving goodbye. We were eager to get back into Manhattan, but then Josh reminded me of the incident of '02, where the Green Goblin cut the tram's car cable and made Spider-Man choose between Mary Jane and that bunch of kids. So we took a few more pictures, mustered up some courage, and boarded the next car. The tramway was only meant to run until the subway to the island was completed in 1989. But it became so popular that the state decided to keep it running indefinitely. Heading west, we came across this restaurant that shares its name with one of our favorite Christmas movies. We also stopped by one of the area's many Ray's pizzas, and just thought this was poetic. With 2.5 miles to go, we decided to save time by riding the bus, and arrived at Pier 88 in about 20 minutes to take part in their annual Fleet Week, honoring those serving in the Navy. We waited in line for over 2 hours, but got a free guided tour of the USS Bataan aircraft carrier. First, the sailors showed us the hangar deck, large enough to store aircraft. And we saw a hovercraft they used to help load the ship. Then they led us up to the flight deck, where this helicopter reminded Josh of a G.I. Joe toy called the Dragonfly. And I got a closer look at the USS Intrepid, where National Treasure's Ben Gates dove off the side to avoid the FBI in 2004. Afterward, we again went underground, our first time downtown on this trip, and emerged in the heart of Union Square, where people really do meet in the park to play chess. What I saw next was absolutely beautiful. Macy's 34th Street store at Herald Square, where the world's largest and my favorite parade ends each year on Thanksgiving morning. This is the largest department store in the U.S. with 9 floors, complete with an arcade, a Toys R Us, and an Apple store. You can even ride some of their wooden escalators from the 1920s, and eat at restaurants scattered throughout the building. Exploring the 7th floor, we rounded a corner and discovered a fully functional McDonald's. How bizarre. But we star-crossing travelers had to keep moving. The 102-floor Empire State Building was just a block down the street. A long time ago, we went to the observation deck.
We're on top of the Empire State Building now. It's kind of windy.
World Trade Center towers.
The world's changed quite a bit since those days. And on a lighter note, I'm pretty sure there wasn't a Build-A-Bear workshop next door. But this publication still prints the news like it's been doing for the last 170 years. It was time to move on. So we returned to the airport and boarded a plane to our next adventure. But that's another story. We hope you enjoyed traveling with us, that you'll take a moment to like this video and go ahead and subscribe. You won't want to miss future trips where you can tag along. For for those of you who have already been to NYC, be sure to let us know what cool things you saw in the comment section below. And for those of you who haven't been yet, let us know what most interested you from today's video, and see the links to the attraction websites in the description below for more information. Until next time, this is Beth, encouraging you to have an adventure all your own.